build your own six pack of thoughts. We build our own six pack on certain topics of interest in honor of March Madness. We're going to dive into our favorite sports movies.
All right.
And
I think we let Corey go first as our guest. Right?
Oh, I get the number one pick.
Yeah.
you get the first beer.
Oh, easy. We're going Coach Carter.
Out the gate with a fourth
Out the
rounder,
gate.
as most of us had it.
Oh, Coach Carter. The inspiration that it has. It's got Samuel L. Jackson. So you know what I mean? Like it's classic. You got the partying, you got the basketball, you got the Cinderella story.
My
You
favorite
have random
part is-
poetry quotes.
You have everything.
My favorite part of that movie is when he put the locks on the gym door.
Yes.
And I remember watching that in like 8th grade. I'd be like, what if like the volleyball team wants to use a freaking gym? Or
Yeah,
something?
what about
You know,
gym
like,
class? That was
what
my
do
thought. I
you-
was like, don't they have gym class at this school? Like, they still need to use it. Was it just a symbolic locking of there? Like, were they still going in and out?
Imagine-
That's a good point.
I would go as a parent, I would just go bananas in a school board meeting if the coach put actual locks on the door. That's
Hey,
garbage.
You got to do
Great
what they got to
pick,
do to respect you.
Great pick. That is an extremely well-deserving first beer because it's extremely motivational. And that's like one of the only basketball movies where like the gameplay in the movie is good.
It's
Yeah.
not. It felt
You got
real.
actual ball players.
Yeah.
Yes. That is my biggest pet peeve. What's that Disney movie where those two tall girls? What movie is
The
that?
twins, where they basically do like the trading places with the blonde
Yes.
girls, or like for Luck of the Irish when they just pump fake 100 times.
Well, that one musical, High School Musical, that's got
Oh,
basketball in
God.
it too. Yeah.
Well, they start singing on court in
Yeah.
that movie.
I'm sure Zac Efron's been in a couple bad sports movies, but
I'm pretty
Coach
sure.
Carter, great-
I'm pretty
great
sure
first
Coach
pick.
Carter also launched Channing Tatum's career.
It
Like,
was
I'm-
one of his earliest
I'm
movies.
90% sure that was like his first movie that he had an actual role in, and that got him the dancing movie and all that. And he got it because he could actually play basketball. All right.
Rich,
I
what's
think
your first beer?
I have the second pick. So my first beer. This is tough because there's so many great movies, but it's hard to narrow down a first pick. I'm between a couple, but I'm gonna go with kind of like my guilty pleasure favorite sports movie that came out when I was in high school, and that's Friday Night Lights.
Hmm.
That Billy
Mhm.
Bob speech right there.
She's
You gotta go with love. No. The actual Billy Bob, not the actor Billy Bob, or the fucking tan. But no, like it's just such a good movie. Even though it was made in the 2000s with all the new stuff, they like captured the feel of the 80s really
movie,
well.
What movie did you pick?
I picked Friday Night Lights. You were thinking of,
I was thinking
you were
Varsity
thinking
Blues.
Varsity
My
Blues.
bad.
Blues. Yes, that's
My
the
bad. My bad.
which is also in the hunt for my number one sports movie, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it's on my list too.
it's so good.
Didn't
Oh,
even make mine.
Oh,
Okay,
crazy.
I'm sorry for interrupting that on that that Varsity Blues quote. Got me excited.
All right, well, go ahead, Drew. What's your pick?
My first beer, and this is going to take me back to my childhood, and this movie doesn't really hit as well as an adult as it did as a child, but you cannot tell me that Sandlot is not the best
Oh,
childhood
incredible.
sports movie of all time.
Incredible. Benny the Jet
Benny
Rodriguez.
the Jet,
Everybody wanted to be Benny the Jet.
Balls,
Wendy
um,
Pfefferkorn was a lot of boys' first crush.
she 100%. Her and Kelly Kapowski all day.
Uh-huh.
But
Pink Ranger,
Sandlot,
she's up there with that for sure.
Sandlot is my number one, and it was as soon as I started making my list, it was like, oh, Sandlot, duh, number one.
That's a good one. Sandlot's a good one. All right, back around to you, Corey.
Funny story about Sandlot. It actually gave me an irrational fear of dogs when I was younger. Because
Oh yeah,
like,
true story.
I just
yeah.
assumed like any big dog was bad
Yup,
because of that
yup.
movie, and I watched that movie 100
Honestly,
times.
more little kids need to take that approach because now you just see little kids run up to these
Running up to the
giant
dog.
dogs. Like, no, you don't. This dog will
Yeah.
eat you if it's a mean dog.
Yeah, my kids.
All
do,
right,
'cause
for my
they're
second
used to
beer,
everything.
I'm going complete opposite end of
Ooh.
Coach Carter.
Love
Like
it.
as opposite as you can get. I'm going basketball.
So good. I
I
didn't have it
like
on my list, but that's incredible.
I like that movie. I could watch that movie weekly. It is just the most asinine movie I've ever seen. And like it's just so opposite of Coach Carter, but that's what I'm gonna take as my second beer.
No, that movie is great because that's like what happened growing up. You like just invented shit
Yeah,
and
because you
you
sucked
made
at
it
the
a game.
sport. Yeah.
Because I was a 5'2" white kid from Michigan, so basketball wasn't really in the cards here.
So
And I just love how they made it up in the movie, playing those guys randomly at a party. They just start making up rules in a game that they can win at. Like the whole movie. I love it.
no, that's great. That's an excellent under the radar movie. I remember seeing that in like middle school or whatever when it came out. And my cousin and I were like, let's invent a game. We'll be famous. But obviously, yeah, that came to fruition real well. So
The chug chant. You can't go wrong with the chug chant either.
great, great second.
That's a
pick
really
there.
good pick. For my second one, I'm going with a classic. It's one that I've seen on TV and left on many a time, but it's better when you actually have the movie itself, and that's Major League.
Mm.
Major League is so good. And Ricky Vaughn coming out of the bullpen, everybody thought he was a starter, but no, he was a closer, folks. Mainly because also when I was a little kid, I wanted that cool haircut he had on the back of his head, and I tried to get a barber to give it to me one time. Didn't work out.
I have a Vaughn jersey, by the way.
I still love Pedro Serrano and the Christian guy just going at it in the locker room all day. And then they get on the plane and he does like the cross symbol and he leans over. He's like, Jesus isn't fooled. There's just so many one-liners.
That's the
through that
Allstate
movie.
guy.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. It is the
Mhm.
Allstate guy. Oh, no, that movie's a 10.
Love it.
That was on my list. It probably would have snuck into my top 6 if it was still available at the end. But for my second beer, I'm going total opposite of like real sports, and I'm going dodgeball.
Nice.
Love it.
Very nice.
You got to love a true underdog, and that movie just encompasses it.
It's sneaky, like one of the more quoted movies too.
I was just gonna say the one-liners that come out of that movie, endless.
And when the Cobras come out for the finals and they do their little dance like that.
I've said many a time, like when my kid hits me, it's like nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah, true underdog, average Joes. It put what's that tall guy, that actor? What's his name?
Vince Vaughn. I mean,
Vince
he was
Vaughn.
He was pretty on the map before Dodgeball.
I understand that like, he was on the map, but like that brought him. I thought that elevated him. I don't know.
It became a cult classic instantly.
I agree.
Instantly.
Yeah.
All right, beer number 3, Corey.
Beer number 3. I can't believe it made it this far. I'm going Rudy. Talk about an underdog story. I'm going Rudy. I mean, it's like the whole story. I mean, I think it probably could have been a little bit shorter of a movie in
It
itself.
did need 3.5 hours.
You didn't need all of the time, but just like the story behind it is
Also has
kind of
Vince
awesome.
Vaughn in
It
it.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
going Rudy now.
I respect the call on that, but I can't stand Notre Dame, so there's no way that I was going to write that down. And he was freaking offsides.
Rudy was
Call the play dead.
offsides.
Call the play dead. And the fact that he got carried off the field, I saw a TikTok the other day with Joe Montana. They're like, we did that as a joke, like to make fun of him.
It's funny you say that. I liked Rudy a lot until I heard like the true story of the guy.
Oh,
wrote it
he's a
himself
terrible person.
and like shopped it around, and the whole team hated him. And like when you're a kid, you don't realize it. And then when you play semi-competitive sports and there's people at practice that like go hard during walkthrough, you're like, oh my God, I can't stand this guy. So it lost its luster for me there, but it's still a good movie. Like you can't watch it and not get jacked up.
Right?
In real life, he's a terrible person. He like did prison time for embezzlement for something.
So it's like
Can't
any
remember.
war. It's like any war movie. Like you just put the best parts of it in the movie, but like what America really did in war was awful.
Yeah, there you go.
They Hollywooded it up. Rudy's a good pick.
I just don't like Notre Dame. I mean, whatever.
So for my third pick, I am also kind of going away from the traditional sports, and I'm going with Kingpin.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just the Bill Murray as the eccentric guy. I mean, Randy Quaid as the bowler. It's just it's really good. Woody Harrelson coming out as the with no hand. It's a Fairley
Just gonna
Brothers
say it.
movie. Like it's so it's so over the top, but there's still so many like subtle one-liners and funny parts to it. It's just laugh out loud funny.
I like it.
Drew,
Um,
third beer.
Kingpin, I remember watching at my buddy's house, and his mom walked in, and it was like a not 10-year-old scene. She was so pissed. Anyway, my third beer. um, some people don't even consider this a sport, but whatever. But Talladega Nights.
Ah, I had that one. That was one. It's one of my favorite. That's a great pick.
Not only is that um, Will Ferrell and John C. Riley's like outside of Step Brothers, that they're great in that movie together. Shake and Bake,
Without Talladega Nights, there is no Step Brothers.
and the wife for both of them. I thought she was smoking back in the day. Their kids. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I'm gonna scissor kick you in the head. It's
I'm a
another of
spider
the more.
monkey.
It's
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna say,
another one of the more quoted movies out there. It's that's such a good one.
And it's got the Borat character in there. He's great as well. When he breaks the dude's arm on the pool table, when does that
Smoke.
happen? Another reason I like Talladega Nights is I think the audio is underappreciated. Like they did some legit NASCAR sounds in the movie, and I
Mhm.
always crank it up on the sound bar when I'm watching it. So Talladega
Yeah, I
Nights,
mean,
beer number 3.
it's a great. They basically took Days of Thunder, just the audio from the cars and all that, and then made it again, but hilarious. Like they made a better Days of Thunder somehow, which is hard because Days of Thunder is a good movie by itself. All right, so fourth beer, we're halfway there. I think we've all got some pretty solid lists going so far. Um,
I'm
Corey,
waiting for somebody to pick a movie I haven't seen yet. I'm interested if that'll happen.
I probably got I have a couple like lower end. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a couple I think I got, but we're gonna save those for the last two. Because for number 8, I'm going Caddyshack.
Caddyshack's a good one.
That's another one. I mean, that's
It's a
just
classic.
another one with an all-star cast that just has a ton of one-liners. I mean, when you could get those guys, when you could get those guys together, and they were all like 3 peak comedians at the time on top of it. So like, it's I'm not a big golf guy, but give me that movie all day. I'll watch it anytime.
No, it was Chevy Chase and it was Bill Murray at like the height of their appeal too, which was what was
Yeah.
really cool about it.
And then Dangerfield, was he ever out of appeal?
He's
Like-
still an appeal.
I know, right? Like he was just always like I just imagine like every golf club has one guy like him. Like there's just got to be one guy that everybody hates. That's just obnoxious.
Yeah.
Just
That
the
just like
obnoxious
so
rich
rich.
guy.
Yeah, that's just so rich they have to let him play.
Doesn't care. Oh my god, so good. All right, so with my fourth one, so this is getting hard now because I have a lot left that I want to pick.
Same.
For my fourth beer, I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna have to go with Slapshot, just because one, it's a classic, but it kind of like kicked off the funny sports movie that kind of led into all the good ones that we got growing up. Like without Slapshot, I don't think you get a lot of the player driven like sports story movies.
That's a classic. That definitely opened the door for future movies. I would agree wholeheartedly.
Love it.
My fourth beer is a Jamaican classic in Cool Runnings.
Yes.
Like if you, again, another underdog story. If you can't cheer and be happy for the success of the Jamaican bobsled team, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like it's embarrassing if you're not cheering for them.
I mean, the most unrealistic part of the movie is believing John Candy was ever an athlete.
Right. R.I.P.
Bless up.
My favorite part of the movie is they're at the Olympic trials, or is it Olympic trials or Olympics? I don't even know. Anyway, they get flipped over and they like go upside down for like a mile straight. Like they drag that out.
It
And,
really did.
and they and the guys are like, "Hey man, you dead yet?" I,
Sansa, you want to kiss my egg?
the movie has a lot of one-liners. I think I wonder if it's like a cult classic in Jamaica, or
Yeah,
they.
like, do they like it or do they hate it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's probably the latter. They probably hate it.
I bet you Usain Bolt likes it.
Disney came in and ruined it
Usain
for him.
Bolt watches it before every race.
The Jamaican bobsled team. Beer number 4.
So good. Corey, beer number 5.
Beer number 5. So this one is, I don't know if it's well known. It did get nominated for an Oscar. Kind of similar to like outside of the sports, but I'm gonna go The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Ooh, I completely forgot about The
It's a good
Wrestler.
movie.
He was so
Yeah.
good in that too. The
And
dark
it's
side
just-
of wrestling.
It's like the thing in sports, right? Like you
Yeah.
ever like you refuse to ever give up. Like you just like can't get away from what you're doing. And I mean, obviously in this movie, it's spoiler alert, it's been out since 2008, but it ends up killing you, right? But like
Right.
it's like the whole movie, the wrestling was actually decent for like what it was. Like but yeah, just the storyline that goes with it.
I mean, it was a good character drama too. Like Mickey
Yes.
Rourke got to do some real acting. He was good in it. He was jacked.
Yeah,
He looked great
was.
for 60. But I mean, yeah, it was sad, which is hard to make a good movie that's sad. And it kind
Yeah,
of
like it kind of was sad throughout the whole thing
It was
because you
like
knew
a-
from the start
yeah,
that he was
you
just
knew
hanging
it
on,
wasn't
right?
going to end well, and
Yeah.
they said it well, but you couldn't look away, and it actually wasn't. It was a great movie. That's a good sleeper pick there because I didn't even have that one on my list, but that's a really good movie.
What sucks about that movie, not sucks about the movie, but what was troubling for me on it is that movie, it's been remade like 8 times in 8 different fighting movies, but I
Yeah.
think that was like the OG wrestling fighting movie outside of Fight Club, maybe.
Yeah. With my pick, I actually have the OG, or not the OG fighting movie, but one of them. But I have Rocky.
Yeah.
I have Rocky on my list as well. I don't think it's going to crack my favorite top 6 list, but
It's just such
I
a good.
I wrote down the
underdog
entire
story.
franchise. I mean,
The,
how do
the
you
Yeah.
entire
one?
franchise, and like you could lump Creed in with that.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually
just-
like Creed movie. I actually like the Creed movies better than the Rocky movies.
Well, they're made way better for art. It's
Yeah,
hard to like
correct.
judge
It's-
movies from the 70s against movies made 50 years later, but I agree with you. The Creed movies are really well done.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
they're
think-
basically Rocky.
Yeah, I think he's so good at acting as well. Like, I mean, Michael B. Jordan. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, he's I think
I'm
he's
excited to see him opposite Jonathan Majors here in this next one. I haven't seen Creed 3 yet, but Jonathan Majors can really act as well. So they should be great going back and forth with each other.
My favorite thing about the Rocky franchise is they always brought in extremely popular people to play the bad guys, which I liked.
hmm Mr.
Like,
T,
easily-
Dolph Lundgren.
easy to hate bad guys.
Yeah, it wasn't hard. Like they're just like, oh, America doesn't like black people right now. There's a big problem with crime and a war on drugs. Let's just get Mr. T out here and make him super ghetto. And then Russia's always an easy target. Just get us a big blonde Russian. Yeah, it's a little on the nose, but the
He
first
died.
one is just so good. And the story behind it makes it better. How he was going broke and he wrote it himself and they wanted to buy it and cast somebody else in it. Launched last. So I've got Rocky at number 5.
Also, what I like about Rocky is like it's really lifelike because you look at Sylvester Stallone now, and he looks like he's gotten beat up in the head a
Mhm.
lot. So you can really believe that he was getting punched for
Yeah.
6 straight movies.
The fun, and when you hear the thing, like he like actually hit me, so it looks better on film. And
That's
like Dolph
great.
Lundgren cracked a bunch of his ribs one day, and they had to stop shooting for like 6 weeks.
Beer number 5 for me. I'm glad you didn't take it earlier, and I thought you did, and I was totally dropping quotes to the wrong movie, but I got Varsity Blues here as my 5th beer. I
It's so
literally
good.
I'd watched that in middle school. Again, all my movies are from middle school because that's just cult classics for me. But like, I thought that's what high school was gonna be like.
John Moxon's only one man.
Like, you
It's
watch
only
that
one
movie
man.
and you're like, "This is high school? I can't wait to get to high school
Yeah,
and
the
party and
parties. I
go to
mean, you
strip
definitely
clubs
can't
and"
make that movie today. Like,
No.
that's a movie that you can't make
Well,
in
Paul
today's
Walker's dead,
climate.
so you can't make the movie, so
Bless up, another one, RIP. But
RIP.
I mean, you've got them drinking, them sneaking out to go to a strip club. You've got the whipped cream bikini. You've got Tweeter talking about how 2 beers and a Vicodin and the panties
True.
drop on themselves. Like
I
they
love
steal a
his
cop
character.
car.
Love his
It's so
character.
it's just like the funniest part about that movie is growing up in high school, you know each of those guys.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, like he was kind of Stifler before Stifler in '97, and you get like the
Mhm.
goody goody smart kid, and they all are kind of buddies and hang. So, like, of course, nobody's actually that guy, but you know that guy. Everybody has that version of that kid in their
I wanted to
school.
be Tweeter so bad.
He was by far the worst character in the movie.
That's fine. I'm actually okay with that. He was he's the worst guy, but he's also the coolest.
Yeah, he did steal a cop car, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, he did some badass stuff in that movie.
He's a 10. He was a 10. A 10.
Miss Johnson, will you go to prom with me?
Could you imagine going to a strip club in high school and seeing your teacher there?
Seeing
Like,
as how all of mine were ugly, no.
I was just gonna say, I'm trying to think if I wanted to, actually. Like,
They were all 65.
yeah,
We did have a like the second runner-up Miss Michigan as a 7th grade teacher. That would have been a fun one to stumble into, but neither here nor there. All right, last beers, gentlemen, and then we'll do some honorable mentions.
one more beer and I'm going to bed.
the final of the 6-pack. I'm gonna take another kind of smaller sport type of thing in the UFC. I'm going with the movie Warrior
Mhm.
With
It's a great
Tom
movie.
Hardy,
Hart-
right?
Tom Hardy and Nick Nolte's in it.
And two
Mhm.
guys just beating the shit
It's a
out
little
of
bit
each other.
cheesy because you know what's coming at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know who was gonna win.
well, no, I mean, like, they're going to end up facing each
Oh,
other.
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
Like the entire build-up, but you had no idea who was going to actually win. And then the dude, breaks his arm, and he's just like, Tom Hardy's just like this big, like, never speaks. Like, like the whole movie, and like Nolte plays just an amazing character. And I understand he's not like the main character, but I loved his acting in that movie too.
What's so enjoyable about that movie too is that's a guy's movie. Like when
Mhm.
you try and watch that, they're like, I don't get it. I don't like this. And you're like, that's okay. This one isn't for you. There's some
You-
movies that are for you guys, like Princess Diaries and Pretty Woman. That's great. They're enjoyable. This one's for us.
You literally
Eh.
took a quote out of my wife's mouth with that. I don't get it.
I don't get it. What's happening? Why they're brothers? Why are they fighting?
Why are they fighting?
Why
How
are
come
they
they're not on
fighting?
the same team?
Why does the dad root for one of them and not the other one? I don't get it. Yeah.
Are they even the same size?
Are they in the same weight class? Speaking
the
of weight
funny
class, do you remember like early UFC when there was no weight class and Ken Shamrock was just bodying 300-pound dudes?
Real quick, best part of that entire movie is was it? I can't remember if it was Hardy's first or second match, but he just walks in the cage, no music, knocks the dude out in one punch, and then just walks
Just
off.
walks right back out. Just yeah.
At that moment, I knew I didn't want to be a fighter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Anybody
the-
with cauliflower ears ever talk shit to you, just say sorry. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm wrong.
I actually have
You're s-
cauliflower ear. I wrestled in high school.
That's like my one thing. Like, I don't fight because I'm an adult, but like if somebody with cauliflower ear was talking shit, I'd just be like, you're right, dude. Like, I'll whatever. It's fine.
Here's a beer. I'll shut up now.
I have so many left on my list for my 6th beer that I'm disappointed I can't put on there, but I have to go. This is like one of my favorite movies. It's a guilty pleasure movie, The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. I love it, probably because it was always on TNT when I stayed home sick in in high school, but just made me laugh out loud. Always enjoyed it. Are there better movies? Absolutely. This one's just one of my favorites, so I'm taking it with my sixth pick.
I've never seen that movie.
There you go. Checked off
Yeah,
2
there it
boxes
is.
there
Yeah.
for you.
That like Major League had probably been the two most sports movies. I guess Caddyshack's up there too that have ever been on TV. Like they would just run those movies like 24/7.
They
Really?
could get the replacements because it's PG-13. They don't swear a lot. So TNT would just run like
just
if you stayed home
all
sick
day.
from high school from 2002 to 2010, you got to see Con Air and the replacements on back to back.
Yes, Con
They
Air
were
was always on
on
TV too.
TV.
Yes. I'm surprised you haven't seen that, Drew, just because of the sheer
I've
fact of
never-
the volume it was on
Yeah,
TV.
like you had
I've never seen
TNT
it on
growing
TV.
up, right? Yeah.
Yes, I had cable growing up.
What
Before
was
I
your
give
sixth?
my final beer, I did want to do a quick women's version because my wife helped me with my list, and she
The
wanted
women's
Bill.
top 6 sports.
Nope, there's only one movie that matters for women, and that's Bring It On.
I would have given him for love of the game.
Eh,
Yeah, maybe yeah.
He leaves
But,
in the 9th inning of a perfect game to chase his woman. See, they can't even appreciate it when it's
yeah, but it's
for
not a
'em.
woman movie. Bring It On is straight up cheer squad drama.
I figured it would have been like Fever Pitch, the rom com.
Oh yeah, that would have been in
Wow.
there.
Wow. That you're just introducing my sixth beer, and that's Fever
It's-
Pitch.
It really? Oh,
As
As a
a
chick
Red
movie,
Sox-
as
as a
girl
Red Sox
movie.
fan,
Yeah.
I love that movie. Jimmy Fallon is awesome. Drew Barrymore, not only does she have an awesome name, I thought she was super attractive in that movie. They have great shots at Fenway. They ended up winning the World Series that year. It
They
just
shot it for
all
real
made-
at Fenway, and
Yeah.
then Boston got hot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they filmed at the World Series. They were on the field. And it's not just because I'm a Red Sox fan. It's actually a
though?
really good movie. It's a
Eh.
good movie.
It's not
It's
a
probably one of the better rom com sports movies out,
Hmm.
like
And
that there is.
and if Jimmy Fallon didn't really get into late night talk show host, I thought he had a legitimate career in acting, and
yeah, Taxi was really good with Queen Latifah.
never seen it. Was it bad?
It's like a 1 out of 10. It's so
Oh,
so
bad.
bad.
Giselle
so bad.
Giselle Bundchen is the
Is
the
it
main
like the
villain.
Airbud sequel?
Yeah, it's the golden receivers with pups.
I had Airbud on my list, but
So did
Airbud's
I,
a good one.
actually. I
So
had
let's
Airbud
let's
too.
go through one at a time the movies on your list that didn't make it. So you had Airbud. Corey, what did you have?
Similar to Airbud, it was kind of a funny one to put on, but Teen Wolf.
Teen
Oh,
Wolf.
yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Teen Wolf.
I had Space Jam on mine.
Yeah, that's another really good one.
Drew, what else you
the
got?
first or second one?
The first one.
The second one was just too
Listen,
much for me.
I actually
know,
didn't mind the second
I-
one.
So
I
had
thought the best part was Dame when he.
I had the time machine and Granny coming in. I didn't mind it because it's not made for us. Like
No.
there was a 9 or 10-year-old nephew that watched it and he loved it. Like loved all the things there. So I'm like, okay, that's makes sense. If kids like it, that's who the movie's for. I was
Correct.
10 when the original Space Jam came out. That's why I like
Have
it.
you watched the original Space Jam as an adult?
It's bad.
It's boring.
Is it
It's
bad?
It's not.
It is
It's
so
not a
boring.
good movie.
I
Yeah.
gotta
No.
wait. My daughter is only she's turning 3 in May, so she's not like old enough to watch movies with dialogue. We watch like Frozen and Paw Patrol, and she likes that.
Yeah. No,
So
it's,
we're almost
Jordan
there.
is a horrible actor. Like
Shocking.
It's just
He was
it's just not
actually
very-
competitive with the CGI guys.
Yeah, right.
Took it personal.
Uh,
Honorable mention for me: Airbud, Mighty Ducks,
oh, that's a
Happy
great one.
Gilmore, Waterboy, and probably would have made my top 6 just because of the best sports movie quote of all time, and that's Jerry Maguire.
Mm.
Show
I
me
always
the
forget
money.
about Jerry Maguire because
Show
it's like
me the money.
it's definitely a sports movie, but there aren't a lot of sports in it. other
It's like
than
zero
Rod-
to do. Yeah.
There's
it's
like 30 seconds of Rod Tidwell on field, but it's definitely
fine.
it's 100% a sports movie.
Yeah, he's a sports agent.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's just I always forget about it in the scheme of it.
Obviously, the
I
best
had
Tom Cruise movie ever.
there's so many. Like he's got some hits. He's got
You
some
see
good
the new
movies.
Top? Did you see the new Top Gun?
I loved it. Saw it in
I
theaters. It
I
was
thought
I
incredible.
loved it as well. I
it
thought it
was
was
a 10
great.
out of it's
It
a 10
was
out
so
of 10.
good. I wanted to bring it back in theaters. It was so good in theaters. I love that they never named who the bad guys were that were clearly North Korea. Um, they're just like the enemy and their Gen 5 jet.
That
Uh,
movie could have went on for another 3 hours, and I wouldn't have noticed.
My only knock on the movie is like the whole opening scene was about how drones were terrible and you always need pilots. And then the main problem that they brought Tom Cruise in to solve could have been solved by a drone that could easily go up the
Just
mountain
up
and
the-
drop the bomb. In my mind, I was like, I
That's
wonder
funny.
if they thought of this plot hole, but it's very big. Um, speaking of Tom Cruise, I had Days of Thunder on my list as well as Talladega Nights that you took. One of my favorite sports movies that I think gets kind of underrated is Will Ferrell's Kicking and Screaming.
Oh, love it.
I laugh out loud at that movie as an
Never
adult.
saw it.
Oh,
Ditka.
it's Mike Ditka makes the thing.
Ditka's
Like,
in it, dude.
you've
He's
got to watch
awesome.
it. It's really kind of funny. Like there's so many like little inside things. Like he gets addicted to coffee. His dad has a rival with his neighbor Mike Ditka. It's just really good. I had Blue Chips on mine, which I think
Yep.
is a sneaky good sports
I had Blue
movie.
Chips on mine too.
And The Program. I love The Program.
It's been a long time since I've
Just-
seen that.
It's that movie where like they took every problem every college football team has ever had and they put it all on one team and made a
Yeah.
movie about it.
And you know all that shit happened in real life.
Oh yeah, but never to one team all at once.
All at once, yeah.